All right. Well, welcome to Coach Moke podcast and welcome to my first ever interview. I'm here with Josh Andrews, and I just felt like when I thought about all the connections that I might have, I felt like this guy was the right guy in spirit, soul, and body, and in all aspects, the holistic man. I just felt like this would be a good one. As a follower of Christ, as a husband, as a father, and as a coach, and as a man, this is the right guy to start with, and I'm really excited. So, Coach, thank you for being on the show.
I'm honored. Thank you for the kind words.
Awesome, you are welcome. So we're just gonna lay back, relax here a little bit, and just have a good conversation back and forth. So let's talk a little bit. We're right here in the middle. We are center court at CHCA. This is where your livelihood. I mean, what you've been called to do. So let's go ahead and go a different direction here. Let's talk a little bit about the team, what you're doing right now, your role here at CHCA.
Hey, got a great group of guys, hardworking. Just you being in here, you see them, doing their thing.
Yeah, they're already working right here in the morning.
And they're fun to coach. So, guys, a lot of leaders. This is a leadership factory here. So, just young men that I have the privilege to kind of meet them in their passion area on the court here, and try to push them and coach them up. And we're having success and playing together, playing as a team, which is exciting. So I'm very blessed and unique opportunity here.
So we're halfway through the season, so you're already starting to say, hey, let's stay present, but we know the playoffs are around the corner. So where are you faring in the league right now?
We're doing well. We're 8-6 or 7-6 overall.
Okay.
But 3-0 in the league.
Great.
So I had a huge road win at Summit on Friday. It's
awesome.
So the guys are playing well. We're in a good spot and got a chance to win more games and keep getting better. So keeping them present. I like that. Sounds like a coach right there. Just winning the day right now.
Yes, I love that. I love that. All right, well let's roll the clock back a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your childhood. Where'd you grow up? Mom, dad, siblings?
Sure.
Give me a little breakdown here.
Born in Kentucky, but most of my childhood, Hamilton, Ohio. So
Does that make you a Wildcats fan?
I do. I don't know if this is going to shut down some of the audience, but no. I grew up an IU fan because Dad was an IU fan. So,
oh no,
you can't.
Whatever.
You can't root for Big
72
Blue.
hours within a national championship. You're an IU fan. I believe you.
Yeah, I promise. Bobby Knight motion and.
I get that.
So Hamilton, Ohio, and had a great childhood and great parents. Obviously, sport played a big role in my childhood, and I've
give me some names: mom, dad, siblings.
Well, and just my from a faith component, my mom early on in my childhood, just being a rock.
Yeah.
I presume you'll pry into this, but my dad had just a radical conversion and coming back to the Lord when I was 8 years old. That had profound impact on my life and our family's legacy.
We'll definitely circle back to
that.
That's awesome.
But my brother and sister who loved Jesus and played a major role in my development, kind of probably coddled me and took care of me. And
so you were the baby, right?
I am. I'm the baby.
So you're the spoiled brat. Let's just be honest.
I am, but I've got a very blessed childhood, and we'll talk this a little bit, but followed my dad around everywhere, everything he did, and it directly affected what I do now.
So obviously, from what we're hearing, to be able to have mom and dad, siblings, you're still in each other's lives. Obviously, that was fertile ground. And let's kind of go with that. So you're a coach. You're coaching young men. You're advancing, an incredible Christian school in this community. You obviously had, from hearing, you had good fertile ground to grow up in. So, what were some of those first coaches in life for you?
Yeah. Well, I had, it takes a community, right? Sure. It takes a village. I mentioned my mom and just being a staple, at least for my faith development in my earliest years. And then when my father came back to the Lord and seeing the discipline and the passion with which he pursued Christ, so impactful to me. My brother played a major role in my early development. Just being, I wanted to be like him and be around his friends and be accepted. So how he made decisions. And I've joked with you about this. My mom will tell us that every night he would say, Josh, I'm going to teach you everything I know. and he knows a lot, right? We know that. So he would train me, teach me up. But so all of them played a role in my formation. You know, and then, of course, when we got into, and we can discuss that, when it got into actual play and being a basketball guy, how coaches and people who connected with my passion played a direct role in the formation of who I am as a man. Just men who poured into me, took an interest in me.
Yeah. So I think this is a good segue into this, because we chatted about this before the interview. Something that had a profound effect on your family was your father choosing to follow Christ and his faith. Expound on that just a little bit.
Yeah. You know, not that my dad was doing things or things that were happening in my, my early childhood that I recall that, had negative impact. I just remember when he came back to the Lord, 1990. I think it's Palm Sunday, 1990. Wow. I'll tell my dad's testimony just a touch, but just radical. My dad's one of those guys that he got saved. Yeah, when he came back to the Lord, and
Flip
just
the script.
Yes, and just a transformation of temperament, behaviors, patterns. In short, just seeing with how much conviction he pursued Christ.
Yeah.
And we had been at several churches in my upbringing, but he had a mentorship group he was so faithful to at Princeton Pike, had older men pouring into him. I remember hearing a lot as I got older and learning about his journey, how Ed Cole and Promise Keepers and just these just about being a man of your word and about having integrity and things that I remember, things that I respect so much that have shaped me. How my dad treated my mom and held a place of honor for her. We could mess up a little bit with dad and maybe get away with it with just a scolding, but if we pushed mom when dad was not around, there was price to pay. And I respect that so greatly. So as a man and his faithfulness that way just really impacted me. I was telling you before we started, I think my dad is now, read the Bible through 36 times, something like that. And I just think it's so remarkable. And I know where he came from, and I love listening to his journey. And I just bring it up because it had such direct effect on my worldview, how I see family, how I see being a man, what it takes to be a man, and what habits should be in play as a man, and letting God's word be the anchor, and that's where truth is, and seeing that fleshed out, seeing those behaviors in front of me, directly affected who I am today.
Because you're 40 years old now, and you're moving into, I hate to tell you, you're moving into that midlife season, man. Right?
43. I know. 43? I know I look great here,
man,
but
you look 35. Hey, so I gave you 40. You should have just went with it.
Yeah,
they can Google it. But we're sitting here. You're not 10. You're 43. And we're still talking about dad. So I just want to say to the men who are fathers or want to be fathers, you make a difference. Who you choose to follow matters. What you choose to follow matters. And for this podcast, our worldview, our perspective, it's a follower of Christ. It's going to benefit you, going to benefit your family for eternity. But literally right now, we have a guy here who's probably coaching basketball at the most predominant Christian school in the general Cincinnati area, and we're sitting here talking mid-court, not about basketball. We're talking about dad, men leading. So, love that. A little bit about your playing history. I mean, not all coaches at the high school level played at a high level. A good majority of them, and it's not that a man can't coach because he didn't play at that level. There's giftings in teaching and coaching if you've not played there, but I personally, as someone who played collegiately then played professionally, you played collegiately. I know it. You've been there. You've had the discipline, the accomplishment. I think it brings legitimacy and all of that. So let's talk a little bit. Do you remember basketball being in your life very early?
Yeah. I would tell you probably a supernatural gravitation towards sport, mostly because of again my father's. He's as competitive as any person I know.
Yes.
Early childhood, my dad just to get run in on the court, him being in his 20s or whatever, had the keys to the church gym at Tri-County Assembly of God. So the only time the gym was open was 6 a.m. on Saturdays.
So
faithfully, I believe it was 6 months a year, there was a group of men he was connected to, and Dad had the keys and the responsibility. So we left the house at 5 or 5:15, had to be in the gym, and I set my own alarm to be with him. And there was an auxiliary gym at Cincinnati Christian then. So the fellows were getting their run in on the court. I would watch them and learn, and I went into that cold auxiliary gym and just worked on my craft. And
so this is like 7, 8 years old. I mean,
7, 8, 9 years old, and I had the just kind of that sense. It's almost like the Lord spoke to me when I was working on my game, and I felt a pleasure, in that. And so
it's almost like a worship.
Yes, as a form of worship. No,
awesome.
Absolutely, and I believe that. I believe this is an act of worship.
Given.
Yes. So I had a drive for that. I was always small, still small. It was almost a, it was a challenge to me playing this sport with bigger, better athletes, and just had a drive for it. So I pursued it. We had a hoop at the house, wore the nets out, and loved the game that way, and that fed into having some success and having a chance to play at a fairly high level, and very grateful for that.
So let's talk touching points. So obviously local leagues and stuff, that's all changed. I don't know if it was AAU around when you...
Was it just creeping in my, maybe my middle school
So you're like
years.
playing for the Y, and then eventually
early
junior high,
the Hamilton Fairfield basketball league.
Let's go.
You're kind of getting into some of my...
Did you play in the old Central Y?
We played I played a lot there at noon.
Got to be careful along the baseline. You had to have a flatter shot.
You did, and it was.
You're going to hit the tracks,
yeah, almost like in the movies. It was lose and go home. There would be 50 or 60 guys at noon in high school at the Central Y. So some great stories there. But
if you won, you stayed.
You won, you stayed. So you found out what everybody thought of you as they picked teams too. So you get better. But Hamilton Fairfield Basketball League had some great guys helping,
awesome.
And I think love of the game at a young age.
Sure.
You don't have to practice 6 days a week, that kind of thing, and got into a little more of AAU type support and whatnot in middle school. But
life, so on the court, what did it teach you that you feel like has transferred into your life? What comes to mind?
Well, of course, hard work and dedication. I think basketball is demands as selfless of an approach as any sport. So my college coach would say life is a team activity. You've heard me champion that phrase.
Absolutely.
I love that. So you got 5 guys on the court. You could have 4 guys connected on the court, but if you had 4 guys working really hard, your pinky would be out here. That's not much of a punch to throw. But if you got 5 guys like this, then you got it's
teamwork. It's huge.
It is teamwork, and then passion and sacrifice and those things. I would say from a spiritual component, I subscribe to that God speaks to us often, at that age especially, loudest in the things we care about the most. So
interesting.
God Almighty wired me for a desire to compete and play basketball, and could speak to me through that, both in successes and in the adversities that come.
Let's talk about adversities. What is something in your playing career that you think back now that was a loss? Wouldn't call it a win, but in its loss, it ended up being a win for you.
Well, my journey. I thought, like a lot of guys, I thought I was a lot better than what I was. So, maybe there's an element of that you have to be successful, but I didn't get all the scholarship opportunities I would have anticipated. My first year out, I went to Miami of Ohio as a non-player. I wanted to walk on. My roommate, turned out to be a big-time player at Miami, but it didn't happen for me. So, and the Lord got a hold of me. I was 18, turning 19, and knew I still had the desire to play, and ended up playing small college basketball, and those doors opened. The Lord blessed that path. But that journey, that time, in a sense, the dream had to die and be resurrected in a sense. And sometimes you really work at something that you love and you don't get the results that you want. You learn a whole lot about yourself. And I would say, with regard to just maybe worldview, leadership, how I see manhood. I wanted to control that process and that journey. And
who doesn't?
Yeah, and have some of that. Hey, I'm a self-made man. You don't know how hard I've worked and what the price I've paid, and I found out at a young age, thankfully, that God was in control and He wanted to be Lord of my life. He knows a little bit better how to use the life He created right here than I do.
That's
so
good.
I began to really learn that at 18, turning 19.
That's really good. That's really good. For our viewers, we have a decent following from Hamilton High School, even some student athletes. So
Yeah.
Josh went to Hamilton
Yep.
High.
Oh, yeah.
Graduated what year?
Big Blue, class of 01.
You actually made
25
you had
years
you
this
guys
year.
was it your senior year? You had a fairly deep run?
We
Got
had
beat by Mull, or was it your junior year?
my junior year. We were regional semifinalists. So
I was at that game.
Yeah,
It was one
yeah.
shot away.
Yeah, I had a great. And then senior year, lost in the sectional finals in the overtime to Mo up at Millette Hall.
Yeah, that was the one I was at.
At a tip-in at the buzzer. Matt Sylvester.
You know what?
Yeah,
We can't forget
yeah.
what our wives told us an hour ago, but you just told me in great detail that game. 25
Hey, it still
years.
stings, man.
Dude,
we had a chance. Yeah. Our stud, E.J. Underwood, and I can't remember if he broke his wrist or gotten hurt, so he was
Ended up playing
hampered in that.
NFL.
Played for the Buckeyes and football giants, and but we had some great teams. And man, I grew up. We didn't go into detail there. We don't have to, but I grew up just. I mean, if you cut me open, I was Big Blue. The Chris Kingsbury era, and those guys, Coach John Smith.
There's many men on this who are going to watch this and know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was my.
Playing Middletown.
It was my
big
world.
game.
It was
And
my
you
world.
ended up playing for Hamilton High.
Yeah.
Coaching at Princeton, coaching at Middletown.
I played. We grew up in Hamilton. We moved to Fairfield. I came back, so I played at Fairfield. Came back to Hamilton, and then coached.
That's how you get enemies, right there.
Coach, that's how you sever a lot of ties. I coached at Princeton. I coached at Middletown. So, and I'd like to think one of my greatest traits is loyalty, but I just believe that the Lord's opened doors, and I think I've been obedient, but very grateful. Every one of those schools learned so much, grew so much, great people. So
great. Let's talk about, as a man, not every man is going to get married. The Bible does encourage us that, a life lived alone can be challenging. Mm-hmm. There's an encouragement to find a soulmate, to find a partner. The Bible even says he was taken from his side to walk with him, to do life with him. So it's only appropriate to talk a little bit about your family. We talked a little bit about the family you was raised in, talked a little bit about your playing journey. We're going to talk about your coaching journey in a minute, but right here in the middle of it, let's talk about how you're able to be on a court coaching and win at the game of life. It's because of something I think that you cherish deeply.
No, my wife, she is, of course, Jesus Christ, the foundation, but my wife is the rock of our home. And I would say, and Coach Moak knows me so well, I would be one of those guys that would have fought really hard to be self-made man and take a look at what I've accomplished and who I am. I just would not, I would be dishonest to say anything otherwise. And the Lord has broke that off of me, and maybe in greatest form with Ashley and how much I need her.
How many years have you been married?
18 years.
Awesome.
So she's
big 2-0. I'm gonna give you a heads up. Be thinking about that now.
I know. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Ashley, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. But she is just the rock. She thinks through things. She thinks about me and our children.
Man,
Such a heavy portion of the day, and just keeps us all together and just aligned. And so she's amazing, and we've been blessed with.
Talk to us about the kids.
Yeah. When Ashley and I got married, Alexis was 7, so Lex was 7, and I had the privilege of helping play a role in raising her. Yeah. And
that's
consider her.
Let's pause for a second, because there's gonna be a lot of guys locking in here.
Yeah.
That being a stepfather, right, comes with its amazing opportunities and its challenges.
Sure,
so what would you say to a stepdad right now that's early in the stage of this? Because you're now how many years down the road?
Yeah, that's
18
that's
years,
18,
19 years down?
And we were dated for a while, so a great question. I didn't have. I don't know that there's a book to follow there.
Sure.
If there's a set of rules, because every child is different.
Yeah.
I tried to navigate my relationship with Lex and how I would influence her. I think I would say slowly and prayerfully.
Love that.
And I knew how influential Ashley was, and she was the lead parent in that regard, even though I was the man in the house and the father. But I tried to meet Lex where she was. So she's athletic and crazy talented. So I tried to meet her where she was in her world and let relationship grow from there. But I also knew she was going to watch how I treated her mom.
So good.
And that was going to shape her, her viewpoints and her worldview and her
intentionality, partnership, and time.
Yeah, and just in prayer and trying to lean into other men who had done so.
Yeah.
And get help from pastors and leaders that I trusted. So I failed in a lot of areas, but I love her fiercely.
Our identity in Christ is found in adoption.
Absolutely.
And we see that in Scripture. So
yes.
You've had actually a unique perspective that not all men get, to know what it's like to love and cherish and take care of someone that biologically is not your child.
Yes.
But at this stage, she would refer to you as a father for
yes.
sure. And I love that.
Yeah, and I can say humbly, I mean, I've apologized to Lex who knows how many times for my shortcomings and know them. But my intention and my intentions were certainly my motivation, very pure. I wanted her to know she was loved and cherished, and that she was.
And I've watched her around you and and there's no doubt she believes that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. She is remarkable.
Yep.
And then
let's talk about your others.
Yeah, and such a blessing to our life and our family. Ava is 14. She's in 8th grade here at CHCA.
Going on 21, baby.
Yeah, and she's fighting for the rule in the home. She has big personality.
Yes, she is.
She's got a lot of answers. She's special. She's very talented. The Lord has blessed her, and she's a difference maker. She is unique. Love her. And then Josiah is 7, turning 8 here.
You're mini-me, bro.
Yeah, in February, and he's a lefty, like Coach Moak. Yep.
Let's go.
Yep. He's got to.
Him and I got a special bond.
He do.
This dude loves baseball.
He does. He does.
De La Cruz,
yeah, he
baby.
does. Yep.
Are you trying to help him prepare that the Reds will not be able to afford him?
I try to explain a lot of different things to him. He does.
All our Reds fans, we know what's happening.
Yeah,
he's going to end up with the Dodgers, Boston.
Baseball, strange world.
Or, those powerful.
Enjoy him while we got him.
That's right. I literally saw an AI of him wearing a Dodgers jersey.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to hear it. I know.
I know. So.
But he diehard Reds fan. Loves baseball. Loves basketball. Loves. Very grateful. He's grown up. He's grown up around the guys at Taylor University, who, and maybe wisely they took care of him because they know that would protect their role on the team. And but he's had good mentors. These boys at CHCA He thinks he's one of them.
As soon as he could, dude, with all of his strength, I would say he was probably 5 with the basketball, grown man basketball, doing everything he can to get in that 10-foot.
He's going. He's about as big as these water bottles. He doesn't know it.
And he would make one after another after another. It was all of his strength.
Well, what's fun is he
lion's heart.
He came out of the womb. We could tell early lefty, grab everything left, grab his mom's face with his left. And, he would want to be on the court and just expect to be on the court 2 years old, 3 years old. So he would make my dad at the games carry him down onto the court and get shots up at halftime. So he was halftime entertainment a lot at Taylor. So he's playing ball. I get to coach him now. He's in 2nd grade.
Come on.
And that's fun, and playing baseball and that type of thing.
That'll be your greatest coaching challenge.
Yeah.
It always is with our kids.
Definitely.
Well, man, you got a beautiful family, and I just want you to know, as a husband and a father, dude, you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
So, and that's where we, as men, we have to win there first.
Yep.
You can win a state title here, and lose at home, and we've lost big time. So, keep up the good work.
I think of my Mark Batterson quote that I've stolen is, I want to be famous in my home.
Come on.
And I failed at it, but isn't that a great, that's true success, isn't it? When you are celebrated when you walk in. And I don't say that as I do that every day, but I desire for that. I pray for that.
I love that. Let's go. Let's circle back. So we talked about being a father, being a leader, being the head when it comes to the household. Let's circle back to coaching. Let's talk a little bit about your coaching history. I would love to touch base on the unique nature of how you were thrown, I believe at 23 or 24 years old, into a significant D1 facility, a coach, and found yourself in a state title game,
Yeah.
all because of you were supporting a legend
Yeah.
who died suddenly. Tell us a little bit about that story.
So I had, the first thing that comes to mind is I started to get a little bit of an itch to coach, playing for Larry Allen, Coach Allen, right?
Absolutely.
We both know really well.
Legend.
So I got to give him a shout out. He would tell me, hey, Josh, you coach on the floor and that type of thing, and you should consider coaching and all of that. And, of course, my parents would support that. And so I think I had some mentors maybe see it in me.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth sharing. I think
Absolutely.
as men, that would
Pull
be
that out of young men. 100%.
Yes, and I think true followers of Christ, men need to be visionaries for that next generation and be able to
Good
speak
word.
into their, even if you call that
And I
prophetically.
just say it, live it.
Exactly.
Live it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, so I went to school, play ball, knowing the whole time I want to coach.
Yeah.
So I was using college athletics as a means of preparation. I wanted it on my resume, as you mentioned before, but I was looking at it through the lens of how would I lead this team, and what am I learning that's going to help me. And so I ended up taking the position as a math teacher. I did my student teaching at Princeton.
Yeah.
And
Vikings.
made a lot of trips from Barberville, Kentucky to up 75 to student teach and that type of thing, but got a job in 2005, and Bill Brewer had just gotten hired. So
Wow.
Bill Brewer, for those that don't know, was legendary in the Cincinnati area, was young, had a fantastic coaching resume and success, was at Roger Bacon High School, and the claim to fame was the only team and only coach to keep LeBron James from 4 state titles in Ohio. So one of those years, the Roger Bacon Spartans, they took it.
Let's go. That's
and,
big.
You're talking about King James here. So,
Right.
Coach Brewer, just amazing, dynamic, intense,
Yeah.
tell you the truth, not apologize for telling you the truth, hard, but amazing teacher of the game. And I just gravitated towards that. So he coached me hard, and yet gave me a ton of space to grow. So I was student teaching, and he would call me from Roger Bacon and say, man, I'm caught up, and you're going to run the open gym today. So I'm 22 years old, and we had some dudes, and so those guys probably thought I was a fool, but I knew looking back, he trusted me, and he was just going to let me learn, and I'm eternally grateful for his investment.
Men passing torches,
Yes.
giving other men opportunity, even if they fail.
Yeah.
Having the confidence to give them that space.
Yeah, and how about exactly the confidence and the humility on his part to say, like, I was representing him at 22, and he knew I could fail, and he knew I might fall short, and had the humility and the confidence in himself. He was okay with that. He was going to run the program well. So, we had 2 really good years. I was his junior varsity coach. He's and his varsity assistant, and we had 2 really good years. And he had implemented so many things at Princeton just in 2 short years' time. November 2nd, 2007, he passed away suddenly of a heart attack.
Wow.
I believe Coach Brewer was 42, so that was a devastating blow. Came out of nowhere. I was going into my 3rd year at Princeton as the junior varsity coach, varsity assistant. Coach Brewer would talk all the time, I need 5 years with you, I'll have you ready to take over a program. So the plan wasn't the beginning of year 3, right? And Ashley and I had just gotten married in October, so I wasn't even a month into marriage. And I walked across the bridge on Chester Road and found out the news. Our superintendent came to me that morning and said, hey, the plan is you're going to be taking over, so you need to start getting things in order. And, the Lord, so of course I would give the praise and glory to the Lord who was at work in all of that. But I had so many people who held my arms up, so to speak. My
coaching staff.
My young wife, my coaching staff, the administration at Princeton, my parents, my family, my brother, my sister, brother-in-law Jim that coaches with me now. So many people just so invested, cared so much, wanted to see those boys experience success because the other part, and I know I'm long-winded here, is these are really talented young men.
Yeah.
We had
Great
four Division I basketball players in the program at the time. I mean, there's a lot of high schools that don't have 4 Division I basketball players, maybe in their history.
Correct.
And we had them on one team. And this administration, Aaron Mackey, Mr. Ray Spiker was our principal, Scott Kaufman, now the athletic director at Lakota West. These guys were foolish enough and brave enough to let me be the lead.
Sure.
And so you know the story, but just quickly, we had a lot of success that first year. They took the interim tag off my name, and the next year I think we finished 16th in the country was the final declaration, but we lost in the state title game to Columbus Northland.
I was at that game.
Yeah, and they had a couple of future NBA players, and had a chance to win it, and it was just an amazing story. And so
that took you, you got some incredible thrown into, whether ready or not, baby, you were thrown into that situation, and then the collegiate level started calling. So you spent over a decade at Taylor University. Tell me just a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I finished Princeton. I took the position at Middletown. It'd be too long of a story. Awesome experience there. Just some of the networking and connection, and the door open to have an opportunity at Taylor, and I felt led to take that position. And I so grateful. 11 years coaching at Taylor, and
you raised a family there.
Yeah, I did. Raised a family there. Yorktown, Indiana was home, and such an amazing place. And again, we were so connected. I had so many people that poured into our family, took care of us. And then in the Taylor, in the program and at the school there, such a family and connection and opportunity truly to call young men and families to a breeding ground for spiritual and physical and mental maturation for men. It was just, and I got to be the kind of the conductor there to craft a team and to have a mission of developing kingdom leaders in that culture pursuing.
So what did you
excellence.
learn? That's good. That's good segue. Because what did you learn about young men during that time? Because you're coaching 18 to 23-year-olds. What are we learning here?
Yeah. A lot of things. Even for a young man who has a righteous motive or a pure motive with his sport, and maybe it's in the right place in his life, still this desire to be great and pursue accolades and achievement, and realizing how high of a level college athletics is, right? Kind of the light goes on for a lot of guys. Wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. And I'd say for me at 43, there was a place in time. I don't know if I could give you the date, but maybe like the Great Awakening is that life is hard. And right? Like, and it's funny, but it's like,
I'd say men do hard things.
Yeah, thank you. And my college coach would say hard is good and good is hard. And going back, and I'll answer that, but going back to my father and many other men that I could look to, my brother, man, you get dealt a tough hand at times, or things are hard at times. It's like, what are you gonna do? Ed Cole, one of those mantras, I think it's a book, Tough Men in Tough Times, or Being a Strong Man in Tough Times. And these are conversations my dad would have with me, my brother, people I was around, guys like you that would pour into my life and just, hey man, life's hard right now. What are you gonna do about it? And what story is how you're doing life gonna tell to your son one day? What story are you creating? What testimony are you creating with hardship? And just my coaching journey, many, many highs, many, many lows. And I fight for emotional toughness. I try to train it, mental and emotional toughness in my players. And I would be the first to admit there are just many seasons of time where I'm a basket case. So there my faith would come in, and the Lord would pick me up, whether with an encouraging word from someone like you, or to use flesh to do so, or just time in the Lord's presence where I encourage myself. But being able, I want for me to be able to say, and I would want for my guys at Taylor here, is, hey, life's hard, go ahead and settle that. And so when you do hard things, you're creating a story, even a mantra of follow my lead. Now, it's not that self-made man tough stuff. It's when the realization is that you need Jesus Christ, you need his strength, you're going to lean into him, and he will put the people around you if you'll allow him.
So good.
To strengthen you and to support you for your journey and your calling and your family and your impact. And you just have to surrender that and recognize that. That would be, in a nutshell, what did you learn? What was happening with young men? Man, that was what I was I couldn't fabricate that, coach here. I couldn't, but I wanted that. I was trying to foster an environment for that awareness.
Love that.
And that's a life worth living.
So we have athletes that tune into this, and maybe aspiring athletes. So you recruited for 10 plus years.
Yep.
What was a common thing that you were looking for from a future student athlete that would put that Taylor University jersey on? What's something that came to mind?
Hey, so starting point is you got to go, hey, what's the need in the program and skill set and those types of things. And anybody would know that. You're going to go look for, hey, we're missing a point guard.
Yep.
We got to have a guy who does these things. But then all the other things that come through observation and conversation, how's that guy? We as a staff wanted to see a guy in a bad game. I wanted to see a player.
See a hitter strike out for baseball. You wanted to see.
And I want to see the response. I wanted to see, could he look teammates in the eyes? Was he quiet the rest of the game? Would he not look at his coach? Would he not listen to his coach? What's his body language after the game? Of course, we want him to care. Of course, we don't want him to be casual about that. But, man, I would guarantee every recruit in that process, or if we made an offer to a guy like, this is going to get hard somewhere. Not because I'm going to personally make it hard. Yeah. It's just going to get hard. It's the way it goes. And because you've done that body of work, you have a trust, and then you tell him and that family, I've watched this, and I love this response, and that's what we're looking for.
Love that.
And what a way to live your life. You're not on the lookout for hard things, but the rain falls on the just and the unjust. It's coming. Yeah. And so I am preparing all the time for, there's a way I do my days, and wanting the young men here to gravitate towards that. But that's phony leadership if I'm not doing that myself, right?
So let's talk a little bit about that. We're gonna wrap this up. Just a few more minutes here. Coach Moak Podcast exists to help men win in spirit, soul, and body.
Yep.
So I chose you because I see someone whose whole life is filtered through a worldview of a follower of Christ, a Christian, a man who reads his Bible and applies it to his life.
Yep.
So I'm gonna ask you kind of rapidly here.
Yeah.
Spirit, soul, body. What would you say as a man, just as a coach, why is the spirit man so important?
I mean, quick response is my spirit is saved because I surrendered it to Christ. So my eternity is settled.
I call it winning from losing.
Yes. Again, drawing back from, man, I think my senior year of high school, we played for the GMC title at home against Oak Hills. I tell my players this, so if I'm wrong, not trying to embellish it. I was 0 for 10 in the game. We lost in overtime. So here I'm a big hotshot senior. I go 0 for, we lose, and had a chance to win the league title. And I would have conversations with my dad. He'd say, hey, let's start here. If you die tonight, you're going to heaven.
Putting things in
perspective.
Yeah. A spirit-minded man puts things in proper perspective.
That is it. So that is that is starting point. Everything else, I could die today.
And your identity was not no intent.
Yes, and I'm going to live with Jesus forever.
Your identity is not in losing your job.
So that's the spirit. And I know there's way deeper that you'll have better guests that could dive deeper and communicate better with spirit.
Let's talk a little bit. So that's good. I think there's so many things, right, that we can go into, but I want to bounce off of that. Just say real quick, losing your job, losing your marriage, having a difficulty with your kids. This becomes moments that become seasons that become identity for us. But when we're followers of Christ and our spirit man is been redeemed and justified, we actually rest in an identity that's supernatural.
Absolutely.
And that helps us be sustained, helps us to be calm, helps us to be chill, help us have a peace. So then like I say, we operate from the inside out, the 3 rings of Coach Moak, spirit, soul, body. So let's talk about mind, will, and emotion. So as a coach, as a man, talk to me real quick about how a man wins in the battle of the mind as it relates to the soul. What comes to mind for you?
I'd say once I've settled that about spirit, soul is where like the coach part of me, as I view it, comes in. Now it's this partnership with the Holy Spirit to begin training to become and live like the man that God designed me to be.
Yeah, love that.
So my spirit's surrendered to Christ, and then the rest of this life is this one day at a time, I'm moving into the man he's called me to become. You've heard me champion this quote. I'm paraphrasing by Dallas Willard, but the greatest gift because of salvation, the greatest gift I can give back to God, or what I can present to Him, is the man that I become. And yeah, exactly.
About,
because it means that I've allowed Him to do the work. It's, all the phrases we know, and I would think that the men listening know of, He's the master potter, I'm the clay. He's working something.
Holding hurts sometimes.
Yes, and it's and He's creating a masterpiece, and it won't happen. It takes time, and I'm just working. So, mentally, hey, I don't want to conform, Romans 12. I don't want to conform to the world's pattern. I want to be transformed by the renewing of my mind. So I am daily in this pursuit of, I want to think like the Word tells me to think.
So you're in the Word. You're in the Word daily.
Prayer, and letting the Spirit train me. Community,
good church,
men like you, good church, consistent connections with men who, and I like to ask men. I've grown in that humbly, like, hey, please send me, when you have good things that are going to challenge me,
so
book
good.
To read, podcast, a quote, a thought, pray for me. And of course, I want to be that for other men, but
awesome.
That's all of those three. I do think, you said mind, will, and emotions. If I've surrendered my will, I want to be pleasing to the Lord, His kingdom come, His will be done. If I'm doing habit-wise what trains me up mentally, and fight that, I think that affects emotions. What little I know in sports psychology, like I pay attention to emotions. They matter. They're God-given. But here's a phrase championed for years in my program. Emotions are a wonderful servant. They're a terrible master.
So good.
Right? Like, I don't want to, because I feel a certain way, it's not going to dictate.
Sometimes I have to.
Well, right. But oftentimes I feel a certain way, and if I behaved from that feeling, it would be crazy. So I've got to come back to center. And all of those things you just mentioned with community and the Word and prayer and just having those habits in place, I think it creates wisdom, because then I'm making decisions and I'm moving in the direction I should be moving.
Love that. Let's wrap up with this. So we talked about the spirit affecting the soul, and then obviously manifesting into the body. 43 years old, I look at you and I say, I look at your mom and dad, some pretty solid genetics as well. But is there intentionality for you, and could you just briefly describe if there's disciplines? Are you mindful of what you eat? Do you work out a little bit? Like, I think that's important for us men, especially as we age, that we steward, and part of our worship is that we take care of our physical bodies.
Yeah, work out a decent amount. Would like to do more. Love to run. I don't know why. I have a...
it's being a basketball guy.
Yeah, probably stress release, and great to pray while running and things like that. Not to sound so pious, it is. And it's a way. I love running because it really does block everything else out for me. A lot of times if I'm lifting with the guys or whatever else, there's a lot of engagement for me. If I can remove myself, it's very healthy for at the soul level. Definitely with eating, and it's gotten better, and I have no choice. We joke about this, man. I could eat anything and cut out a stone in my 20s. You turn 30, you look in the mirror, it's what's going on. You turn 40 and you start panicking. But I do, not just because it's biblical to fast. I do think fasting affects.
That's awesome. Wow.
Surrendering, just appetite, that type of thing to the Lord, and it helps me make better decisions with my eating. But critical, right? For
Absolutely.
Temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to give you a phrase. I want you to finish the blank. It's going to be on the spot. I think you can do this, all right? No pressure. So I want you to finish this sentence for me, okay? A man who wants to win must first be willing to, what would you say?
Surrender.
Which is the most unworldly thing to say, right?
Yeah. Can I expound real quick?
Sure,
so that's
please.
what I think is, I touched on this, is like, think like manhood. I love it. I love watching like Clint Eastwood or whoever else, like man's man type deal. But real life, we need help, and I need so much help. I have to have Ashley.
Yeah.
I have to have my kids. I have to have my parents. I have to have my staff. I have to have friends. I have to have people like you, pastor, mentors. I could go on and so just surrendering, trying to either be in control, or that prideful nature that was in me as a young man, that I'm going to make it happen, and let the Lord do His work. Like that, to me, that is everything.
I would call it with this podcast, I think we can wrap it up right here. As a coach, you want to coach kids that are coachable.
Yes.
As a coach, as a man, as the head, as a leader of our lives, of whatever we think we might lead, at the end of the day, I think men who win are coachable.
Coach Wooden, it's what you learn after you know it all that counts, which is like every man to me. It's every man. We got all the answers. We know everything. Sure. I'm not coming at anybody. I was that guy. And my wife might say I'm still that guy at times, but
it's all right. I make decisions.
Yes, but I want to please the Lord, and I need people's help, and I need accountability, awesome. and I'm growing. That's awesome. Key. I'm growing. You got to grow.
Absolutely. Well, man, that is wrapping this up. Coach Andrews, thank you so much, bro.
Yeah,
You've been
pleasure.
incredible.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate you tuning in. Continue to follow the channel. You can subscribe to the YouTube. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram. God bless. We'll see you again soon.